What are you doing? You hated that job, you were miserable in that job, and now you want to go back there. I had to admit that she was right. When you start building something, other people will start to notice, and sooner or later, the right person or the right people will notice, as long as you don't give up. It's not necessarily going to be an easy ride, but it is totally worth doing something that you enjoy doing. Welcome to KaiCreative, my name is Kai Song, and Josh Fern91 left a question on one of my videos recently, and he asked, I want to get into video and film production, but don't have a relevant qualification. I noticed in your trailer that you started working in engineering. How did you manage to get into video for work? And this is a question that does pop up from time to time. People are interested in how I did a 180 on my career, working as a technical product engineer in Sky TV to currently a freelance filmmaker and animator through KaiCreative, which is my own company. And I also work as the head of video production for an international company in the higher education sector. So I actually didn't go to film school. I don't even have a creative A-level. I wanted to study an A-level in media at college, and my parents, who are very traditional, didn't see any benefit in that. They said to me, what are you going to do with the media A-level? And they encouraged me to do technical subjects. So of course I studied A-level maths, ICT, electronic engineering, and instead of choosing media, I ended up choosing history, European political history. After college, I went to university and studied electronic engineering for 3 years. I got a 2-1, which is not bad. Thanks to one of my friends at uni, I got a job working at Sky TV at their head office in Southwest London. And if you don't know Sky, it's one of the biggest broadcasting and telecommunication companies in the UK. I started off as a hardware test engineer working on the latest Sky products. Very quickly, I got promoted to a senior test lead where I was training newbies on how to use frequency generators, oscilloscopes, lots of different technical kit. And soon after that, I got promoted again to a technical product engineer role, and I owned the third-party relationships of companies that made the products for Sky. And I was slowly making my way up this corporate ladder. The next role I was focused on was to become a project manager, and I had this career path laid out for me. And to be honest, life was really good at Sky. I got free Sky TV, I had a test card so I could watch all the movies I wanted, I had free sport, free internet, free phone, automatic shares in the company, an amazing health package. They had a minivan that would pick you up from the station and took you to the office. Almost free gym, I think it was about £5 a month, so pretty cheap. Tuesday was football day, and also Sky throws these massive summer and winter parties, which were amazing. The canteen was also amazing. I think it was voted the best work canteen in the UK. At one point, one summer, they took one of the car parks and turned it into an artificial beach with tons of sand, with palm trees and deck chairs and beach games, and they set up a Costa stand which gave away free iced coffee and ice cream. It was a pretty awesome place to work at the time. In terms of creative stuff at that time, I was messing around with After Effects at home, trying to learn how to create fireballs and clone videos, lightsaber fight scenes, and I always try to edit my holiday videos in an interesting way too. And I was doing a lot of tricking and gymnastics stuff at that time, so I filmed a lot of that and put it on YouTube. I was editing in Windows Movie Maker, so it was all pretty rubbish. But I definitely had a passion for trying to make something creative with video, but it was never a serious thing. So life was good, things were going well, until one day. One day the whole team was called into a meeting room, and our newly appointed manager was sitting there with a representative from HR. And they basically told the whole team that we were at risk of redundancy. Now, on the train journey home that day, I wrote a note on my phone entitled, "I've lost my job, contingency plan." And I made a list of all the skills I had that I could use to get another job. And at this moment in time, I really panicked because I realized that I'd come straight out of uni and worked in a very specialized role in satellite technology for the last few years, and I had pigeonholed myself into a dead-end job. Particularly as more companies were focusing on things like optical fiber, there weren't too many opportunities out there for what I had found myself doing in the last 3 years. And the only thing I could think of as an alternative was this crazy idea that maybe, just maybe, I could do something in video. Now bear in mind, at this time YouTube was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and the most coveted camera on the market was the Canon 5D Mark II. So The array of cameras and amazing functionality that we have today to create video simply didn't exist, and YouTube was still very much a place that people saw as a platform to upload funny videos, not what it has grown into today. But I do think that the real dream of doing something with videos started from around that point. So within a month, 70% of my team was cut. I was one of the lucky ones who was kept on to cover the workload. My title was changed to something random, and all of a sudden this amazing job and career path didn't exist anymore. And things were quite miserable, and I slugged it out for about 2 more years. During this time in one of my appraisals, my boss's boss wanted to have a quick chat with me about my career path and what direction I wanted to go in. And he asked me, do I want to be more technical or project focused, getting me back on that ladder that I so aspired to be on before. And to try to be friendly, he asked me what hobbies I was doing, and I decided to show him a little After Effects showreel that I had been working on, and he was actually really impressed. And he said to me, you should be doing this. How would you feel about working in the creative department where they shoot the news and make all the adverts and play around with software like After Effects? And I was like, yes, sounds awesome, let's do it. And so he arranged a secondment over to the creative department, and I had an opportunity to work with lots of different creative people for a little while. And at that point, I decided I would start doing something creative. I didn't know exactly what it would be yet, but that it would be something creative. After the secondment was over, things went back to normal, and I decided to quit. I traveled to China with my wife, and we lived, studied, and worked there for about a year. And that's one of the most incredible experiences I've had so far. Just breaking away from that 9-to-5 grind, refocusing and reassessing and living in a completely different environment really helped put lots of things into perspective for me. Now, before I left to go to China, I actually bought myself a little vlogging camera, the Canon Ixus 220HS, and I spent a lot of time making little videos out there on this camera, and that helped me to learn a lot about things like vlogging, composition and editing, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about those experiences another time. When I got back from China, I didn't know what I was going to do for work. I had this amazing adventure. I had been teaching English, but it really wasn't my thing, and now I was back in the UK. We were living with my mum and dad, and I thought, okay, what now? I need to get a job. And soon after that, I got a text from one of my old colleagues at Sky. They found out that I'd come back from China, and funnily enough, he was one of the guys that I had trained years before, and now he had become a test manager, and they were looking for a new test engineer. And since I was the one who wrote the book on testing that they were currently using, they contacted me to see if I wanted a position back in the Sky test team. So I texted him back very quickly and said I was extremely interested, and he asked when I could come in for an interview. So we arranged a day, and he basically told me that the interview was a formality and that I was guaranteed that position. So I was really happy with that news, and later that day I spoke to my wife and I told her, great, I've got an interview back at Sky. And she said to me, what are you doing? You hated that job, you were miserable in that job, and now you want to go back there. I had to admit that she was right. But I did say, what am I going to do? And she said to me, why don't you do that video thing that you've always wanted to do? So I said, okay. From then on, I started to try and make videos. At that time, I had a few £100 in my bank account, and I used that money to purchase a second-hand Canon 550D and a kit lens, and a second-hand Sigma 10 to 20mm wide-angle lens from eBay. And then I started actively looking for work online. And one place that I looked for jobs was a website called People Per Hour. And that's a website where people put up jobs and you can pitch your hourly rates and they choose who they want for the job. And I started trying to get clients and work through that website. Since I knew a little bit of After Effects, I also made something called an hourly, which was basically doing a job for a set amount of money. And I made a couple of these hourlies actually, and one of them was to edit After Effects templates. I made one where I would create 3D animated logos, and to be honest, the money was terrible and most of the clients were really demanding. And the platform also took a large percentage of your earnings, so it really was just an opportunity to build a portfolio. We also started to attack the wedding scene. My wife was working again with her old company, and she put some money behind some wedding fairs. And previous to this, I had done a few weddings for family and friends, again to build up a portfolio. And we went to these wedding fairs to pitch our wedding videography business. And to be honest, the quality of my wedding videos at that point was really terrible. but we put a big 50% off sticker on the table and we managed to get a few bookings, which was great. But most of those were several months or even a year plus into the future. So having that on the calendar several months in advance was quite challenging. And again, not much money was actually coming in. And I remember feeling at the time that this video thing simply wasn't working. I had put a lot of effort and energy into it and I wasn't seeing immediate results, but I persisted. I continued to try to get clients on the people per hour platform and I slowly started to build a credible rating. We continued to do wedding fairs and slowly got more weddings. So I had a corporate portfolio and a wedding portfolio. And what I think is interesting, and this is the key, is that when you start building something, other people will start to notice, and sooner or later, the right person or the right people will notice as long as you don't give up. And this is exactly what happened to me. About a year in, I got an email out of the blue from a small production company in Shoreditch. They needed a freelancer to come in and work on a backlog of videos that they had for one of their clients. I got on the phone with them, we had a quick chat, agreed an hourly rate, and 3 days a week for the next year, I was freelancing with this small business and worked on building up my other stuff at the same time. And now I was in an environment where I was earning some money and also able to learn from other creatives. And I think that's the second key, being in an environment that supports what you do, surrounding yourself with people that you can learn from. Since then, I've worked with a number of other companies. I freelance with some big companies in the UK too. And like I said at the beginning, I'm working hard at building up the KaiCreative brand, as well as working as the head of video production for another company. And in that time, I feel that while I've improved, I still have a long way to go. And I think that's the third key, to be able to learn and develop your skill sets. Don't ever be content with where you are on the creative spectrum. And also learn new skills. If you can monetize new skills, then you can multiply your revenue streams. So that's my story behind how I did a 180 on my career as a technical engineer to a freelance creative. And really, I couldn't have made it without the love and support of my family and friends who have literally propped me up along this journey. So a massive thank you to them. One piece of advice I will give you if you're looking to change your career path is that it's not necessarily going to be an easy ride, but it is totally worth doing something that you enjoy doing. So what do you guys think? Are you looking to switch up your career, maybe to go from technical to creative, or even the other way around? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, guys, do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and also hitting that little bell for notifications, and also go and add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram feeds as well. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. All that's left to say is stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement and inspire, and I'll see you next time on KaiCreative.